last time you watched Magic coverage online? Whether it be paper events or
funny internet videos.
There's a lot of coverage options for Magic gameplay every day. But I'd be willing to bet that the people who answered, "Pick me! Oh, I know!" to the first question in this video are probably more enfranchised. They're probably not Commander players because the Magic viewing experience isn't that accessible. It's not even that well advertised. There are periods where there were coverage and there wasn't. And so in today's video, I wanted to go over a recent tweet from the Pokemon TCG, going over some really cool coverage that they've had, but also talk about how we as a Magic player base can look to promote better viewership of Magic. The stage at this year's Pokemon Worlds Championship Sunday is larger than life. We see kind of Pokemon on the bench there. We see kind of moving icons in and out, all the players in the center, a lot of really crazy great production value. Now obviously this is kind of over the top, it's crazy, it's for Worlds, you know, not that every event in Magic needs to have something like this, but it's a really engaging and cool, really nice like visual representation of things. Now in many ways, people are talking about this in comparison to Yu-Gi-Oh players about to jump ship and make our childhood dreams come true. Now, this is something that I think Yu-Gi-Oh should have had for a very long time, but the game right now is very complex in the way that it interacts with each other, how fast the game can be. It can be very hard to read in that aspect. So it's very different than the Yu-Gi-Oh kind of anime itself. But what I think that Magic can do is not just one for one adapt this, because when it comes to Magic itself, the game is very complex. There are so many parts of the game state that you have to track, not only your deck size, but the hand size. When it comes to paper play, you might be tracking where a card is in someone's hand. Like there's different tells in paper versus like digital play. You might be looking at something like the board state, the phase that you're in, where things are in the graveyard versus exile, depending on the format you play, like Pauper or Legacy. You might be looking at the order that the cards are in a graveyard. There are so many different interaction points in a game of Magic, and that in many ways turns some more casual players off to games like, you know, Lorcana or the One Piece TCG, but the more you know, high level players can find interest in the stack and the layer system. It is a boon and a disincentive to play Magic when it comes to its complexity, and I think there's ways that we can adapt viewership like this and improve some of the things that we have, and things that didn't work. Notably, throughout Magic's history, when it comes to Magic competitive sphere and the viewership of things, there's a lot of things that haven't worked. There's a lot of things that Wizards of the Coast have tried. There's a lot of things that different organizations have tried and have ultimately led to decreasing numbers. And you know, the big thing to mention obviously is going to be, in the more recent times, COVID and the large lockdown. A lot of things that were pushed in terms of competitive Magic happened during the start of that, during that very year that COVID started. So a lot of unfortunate things happened when it came to viewership numbers and the organization's inability to adapt in many ways. But there are some things that we can improve on, and there's some things that we can take to better understand. And so when it comes to LSV calling out disingenuous arena viewership, one of the things that didn't work was conflating numbers, right? So we had this whole thing with like embedded viewers where Wizards of the Coast, this person kind of like explains it really well here, but you can take a Magic Arena stream or an MTGO stream, just a Magic stream in general, embed it into a web page, mute it, and just throw it at the bottom. And that person on that web page, whether it be like an RGN article review, or whether it be like a different blog or something, like whether you're gaming analogous, you are reading something online, you can embed a Magic stream onto it, and that person reading it would count as a Magic viewer. And so that would artificially inflate the numbers in a Magic stream, leading people to believe that so many more people are viewing this stuff than people actually are. And you can then see that in the post with the amount of content and discussion around it, the amount of articles and stuff, like the amount of people viewing those articles and then engaging with the tweets and stuff. The numbers don't line up. If you had like 10,000 views, but the amount of people interacting with the tweet is like 2, how is that marketing? You know, like the numbers are a little off. And so stuff like this isn't going to work if you don't spend time actually marketing your events. And it's going to be important to do this through a player incentive and through doing this through digital incentives as well, which we're going to do. But again, embedding posts and inflating numbers artificially is not good marketing, and it's just lying. It's just buying bots for YouTube subscriptions or something like that. It doesn't mean you're actually like a big influencer or a big content creator. You're just buying subs, and ultimately the YouTube algorithm will sense that and throw that away. Now in this one, in this article, this is an article from Hipsters of the Coast. I'm going to link it down below. It's close to the bottom. So the article itself is the MPL and Rivals League will disband after the 2021-2022 season. But really what's going on here is the first 3 invitational regional players played in January and February of 2020, but the COVID-19 pandemic forced them to cancel the players tour in the MPL. In their place, Wizard introduced set championships that were fed by qualifiers held on the MTG arena. And so what happened here is a lot of competitive Magic got forced onto one platform, and MTG Arena had a big push at the time. Right now we see that digital sales are actually on a slight decline. I believe it was like down by 4% or 6% year over year based on the latest Hasbro earnings call. So digital Magic is on a slight decline, and that's because we're not seeing a lot of like push for it, even though standard RCQ seasons are happening right now and standard is on arena. There's a lot of kind of buzz about standard. A lot of digital Magic is seeing kind of a downplay. And so funneling people into specific formats, I always thought was like a weird thing, especially at like lower levels, like RCQ formats and kind of RC formats and even Pro Tour formats. I wish there were more of these events for people to qualify into. And I see like there's a reason to like limit them and everything because of costs and logistics of managing all these. But it just feels like if you like qualified with Pioneer, then like RCQ'd with Pioneer, then went to like standard, and then the Pro Tour was or like you RCQ'd with Modern, then RC'd with Pioneer, then like your Pro Tour was standard, and then you went to Worlds and you had to like draft and all this stuff. Like there is an idea that the Magic World winner every year should be well-rounded when it comes to Magic, but it leads to a disconnected viewing experience because I feel like it just doesn't lead to good storylines. I feel like the whole idea of a Magic player being like super diverse in one level of play doesn't really lead to a good average viewing experience because of the fact that people can't follow one clear storyline. A lot of Magic players don't like draft. They just don't. They don't like draft. They don't like sealed. It is not an accessible form of Magic. It really isn't. It's not a free form of Magic 1, and it's not a competitively clear version in terms of what you have to draft, the archetypes. Like these are very hard skills in Magic. It's a very highly interesting form of Magic. It's very highly competitive, but it's not accessible. So the draft level at Pro Tours, and even at Worlds, I would argue is not accessible, especially with Commander being at the forefront. I don't think we should have funneling of different formats into other specific formats. I think every year we should have a Worlds format, and every single qualifying event up until then should either be that format or close to that format. Yes, there should be draft in there somewhere, but like we should have draft at like an RCQ or an RC level. The Pro Tour should be 1v1 constructed formats of either standard, Pioneer, or Modern. Honestly, it should be Pioneer or Modern. RCs and RCQs should be like standard, or like it should be have a wider variety because there's more of them. You should be able to qualify with any format you want, but the Pro Tour format and the Worlds format, in my opinion, should be the same because it leads to storylines. And that is what is missing. Because you lead to these diverse funnelings of different formats trying to create diversity, it doesn't help. There should be formats that take the back burner because there's so many formats in Magic right now. It's hard to create interest in all of them at the same time. It is okay for certain formats to take the back burner to some degree, but it also helps create like a lot of buzz and a lot of interest with players that are dark horses coming out of nowhere. The way they went into multiple RCs, battled through standard and whatever, and ultimately found a holding in Pioneer. And we see a meta develop in the different Pro Tours of Pioneer. Maybe different regions with the different Pro Tours have different metas. The way East Asia plays, Pioneer, the way they play Modern, the way North America plays Pioneer, they play Modern. The metas are going to be different. And so you're going to see a diversity then come into Magic Worlds and have those stories from there, like the way East Asians, they play Modern, the decks are at the top. Maybe not, it's not Boros Energy, the way Americans play that. We could have like world, kind of competitions. And I'm thinking about this from like a fighting game perspective, how different, even fighting games and even MOBAs, how different worlds, different regions in the world play different characters, different strategies. They favor different things. I think about like Overwatch League, where we had a lot of dialogue about how North Americans preferred just grindy, like in the battlefield type of play, Reinhardt, Zaryas and all that stuff. But when it came to East Asia, like there was a lot of kind of dive, a lot of fast play, a lot of Winstons, a lot of Genjis. And so the way that these different places in the world play can then come together in one format and create excitement for that, a lot of play in that format, and then we could cycle out in the next year we could play another format or something like that. Like, I think highlighting one format instead of having multiple ways to qualify into one is going to be the way to do this. And also ultimately having like multiple formats to qualify into it just really messes people up. Like, there's a lot of good constructed players that if Worlds was modern, they would lose out because they don't know how to draft. And that's not like, why is that being required of them? That's a dumb requirement, right? Like, I think the Worlds narrative needs to change, and the current narrative right now is not working. In my opinion, it's not working. A lot of people are watching Worlds, but that's because artificially you created a con experience. Just like how you've artificially created views, I would argue where Worlds is right now with MagicCon Las Vegas, a lot of people are artificially going to these things because of the command zone, because it's a con. Like, Wizards of the Coast has successfully created an in-person marketing experience of the con, but those are like well-invested players anyway. The key to getting viewership in digital Magic or in coverage or in Magic in general is getting the average player, the kitchen table player, interested in it, getting them to go watch these formats, getting them to go watch these, not the invested player that already bought tickets to MagicCon Las Vegas and is in the live audience and telling their friends to go watch it. Not them. We need to get more of the casual audience invested into it, playing more 1v1 constructed, watching some of the side events that are happening as well. That is the type of coverage that we need. So ultimately, this is where we lose out on some of the more casual players, where they ask, like, why does Arena not have a spectator mode or a dual room or a replay option? These are fundamental key features missing in your primary client that you're using for viewership. We are putting Pioneer onto the Arena client slowly over time. There are a lot of cards still missing. It's not true Pioneer. If you want to do this for standard, why don't we have a replayer viewer or a dual room? Rooms that have statistic. It shows you live deck numbers and everything. Things that, like, aren't as clear on like an Arena screen. How do we go into and highlight them? How do we highlight certain cards that are being played on a screen? How do we take paper coverage and use different softwares, such as, even you see this on Spell Table, where a certain card will pop up, you can click on it and the software recognizes it or tries to, takes the art and shows it and pops it up on the side of the screen. How do we do that with live coverage? How do we get that interactive for a player? How do we get Twitch or different viewer kind of pages, even like Spell Table? How do we get these softwares involved in coverage so people can interact with the coverage and see what cards are being played? They may not understand fully what's going on in terms of the coverage and the nuances, but they can see them card to card and they can understand what's going on. Sometimes people aren't able to view through messy boards, and so they have to be invested in what's going on. There's a lot of ways where we can take complicated Magic and make it more accessible to the viewer, make them more interested, create a consistent viewership in terms of format, remove all the dud marketing, and better improve the software that we have to create more interactability. That is what Magic has been missing for a while. I mean, if you look at Twitch right now, this is a Twitch channel going right now that is just showing like old like Magic. Like, this is Eldrazi and Taxes versus Affinity. This is just like old modern and everything, right? And so Grand Prix Birmingham, like, we have like paper Magic, and there's a lot of complicated things going on here. We have a lot of overhead here, but there's a lot of stuff in the graveyard you have to track. A card being exiled, a card with some counters on it, lands tapped, this graveyard here, we're not exactly seeing hand counts. We don't have a hand cam. We don't know what's going on in people's hand necessarily. We're not being shown that right now. And so there's a lot of things missing in coverage. And this is old coverage. Things have improved over time, right? I'm just highlighting what Magic coverage is that we're used to, and we shouldn't be used to this. We can improve this. Like, telling people this is okay, just deal with it, is not an acceptable solution when Pokemon Worlds is doing the glitz and glam that they have. And this is like our average Magic coverage. And this is okay. It can just be better though. Right? And there's like small things, like you have like infect counters and stuff like that, but like, what does that mean? What does that mean, right? Like, if we had an interactive software that could like kind of highlight this and stuff, right? Like, I can't click into this Twitch stream and see like, oh, what these cards are, what they do. I can't read the text of Eldrazi Displacer. I don't know, I don't know what the Aether Vial does. I don't know. I actually don't even know what this is. Is this the one colorless infect card with like life, with like flying and stuff, or lifelink? Is it lifelink? Whatever it is. Like, again, like, I don't know what these cards do as a new viewer. It's very hard for me to read them even as a knowledge modern player. Yeah, like I know that this card right here stops the activated ability of all artifacts, so that messes up the affinity player, sure, but I just don't know what the rest of it is doing. So there are ways that we can improve coverage that we already have in viewership experiences, but just not doing the things that we generally have been doing. But what can we do? I've highlighted a lot of things that we can do to improve what we already have, but what are things that we can do right now that we're not doing at all? That other games are doing that we can do right now to improve Magic viewership experience. First of all, Twitch drops. Twitch drops are absolutely one of the best ways to get viewers cross-pollinating in the game. This is great for the creators. This is great for the game. I've seen, you know, I myself am an intellectual. I watch Flats, Marvel Rivals, and Overwatch. And he has talked multiple times, ad nauseum, pun intended, about how Twitch drops is a great time for him to stream. He is streaming like almost like 20 plus hours a day. Like sometimes like crazy amount, because people are just watching. They want to watch these streams. They want to boost these, you know, games up so that they get their Twitch drops. So for those of you that don't know, you link your game with your Twitch account, and then based on the number of hours you've watched or how you've interacted with a certain content creator on Twitch, you get in-game bonuses. So Twitch drops could be cosmetics, you know, different bonus XP events or whatever. So when it comes to Magic Online, Magic Arena, you could have Twitch drops that give you free play points, or Magic Arena, it could give you gems or gold or whatever based on the amount of hours that you watch. It could give you free packs of the certain set if you're watching a specific streamer stream standard. And that gets more people playing standard. Now that streamer is specifically playing standard, and more people have eyes on standard. Some people that are passively watching are just doing it for the packs, but some people are like, oh, this is a streamer I watch, I'm gonna watch what they're playing. This is a cool deck in standard, I'm gonna build this in standard. And so this creates that cross-pollination. It gets people playing the game. Twitch drops is a very good way that people are already promoting their game. Companies are already improving the play of their game, working with content creators actively, instead of creating an ambassador program that just gives free product to ambassadors that just, you know, aren't even talking about the real issues in the game. They're just promoting Commander. Why don't we get 1v1 constructed formats cross-pollinating with their content creators and the program itself? Just saying. Alongside that, why don't we have these awards actively on Arena? Further extending the fact that with Twitch drops, we have some level of cross-pollination when it comes to pre-release and getting these codes. That's also that is a success that I want to highlight. This is something that we're already doing that we can do more of. Pre-releases have codes that give you packs online. Sure, that gets you playing Magic Arena. Why don't we do that with other things? Why don't we have standard showdowns giving you the winners can get packs online? Different levels, the top 8 gets a different package versus the first or second place. You know, different codes that give you different things online. Why don't we do that when it comes to different events online, right? Like, or different events in paper, different events in terms of streaming events, or different creators giving out codes like this. Like, we already have this when it comes to MTGO. The Magic Online team is doing a great job of providing codes to creators and doing like the creators are then doing different events. I do giveaways on Twitter and everything to, you know, have play points being given out. We should be doing more of this. Again, alongside Twitch drops, we should be giving out codes like this direct from stream to engagement to client awards, to give people an incentive to watch content, to be able to then bring it back to their play and make it more accessible for them to play the damn game. Also, in the in-game freaking screen, Magic Online does this. Magic Online does this to a certain degree. I just think the program could do it a little bit better, but to be fair, they're doing it to the best of their ability. So I will give the Magic Online team their kudos. Not only are they already doing this when it comes to like digital awards and play points, but they already are advertising like events that are happening, the different streaming content that they're doing, different TikTok content. Like, they're already promoting really well. The Magic Online team is a great way, a great model of content right now. On this Magic Online screen, like, we're just highlighting different ways to play the game in the client and different events that are coming up. Why aren't we highlighting different streams of standard? Yes, it takes people off the client, but people aren't even coming onto the freaking client. So once they do, they want to see other ways that they can play the game. Like, yeah, like, there's a lot of things going on here, gold, decks, all this stuff, but why don't I get directed to other streamers and other communities that are playing the formats and the decks that I want to play, so I can learn, I can build into other decks, come back into the client. By watching them through Twitch drops, I get awards or rewards to come back, use codes, get packs, and continue to play the game on the client. It's the cross-pollination, it's the back and forth. Just because you're taking someone off the platform doesn't mean you can't bring them back. Have those live streams, highlight different streamers, actively going live. Partner with them on a monthly basis. Every time they go live, get a notification on the kind, like, hey, your favorite content creator is currently live. Maybe even talk about a certain deck, like have them like, you know, this content creator right now is live with this deck. Partner with that content creator and say, hey, I want you just streaming this one deck in standard. Your favorite content creator is live with Demir midrange. Go check them out. Specific deck, specific format, highlighting that your favorite content creator is live with this deck in Pioneer. Oh, I didn't know Pioneer was on this client. Let me go check that out. Oh, I want to build that deck. Let me come back and play it and build it on the queue. Oh, I watched it for 3 hours. I get some packs of, I get 3 free packs of any format, like any set I choose. Great. I'm gonna get, oh, I need, you know, these Final Fantasy cards. I need Starting Town and Wandering Minstrel for my Pioneer Loomer deck. I'm gonna get 3 packs of Pioneer with those. And so this is the way we can create cross-pollination. This is how we increase viewership. You give incentives for people to watch this, right? It's not just about being invested in watching the format that you already play to get better at it. You want to get the casuals invested as well. How do we get rewards to people for watching this? How do we keep them watching? How do we then incentivize content creators to make content on specific formats instead of like me constantly complaining about Pioneer, having to artificially go out and find ways to promote this this format that absolutely sucks balls, but I found a great archetype that I like to play in it, so now I'm promoting it, now I'm playing it, now I'm making content on it. How do we do that in a different way? The last thing I want to promote is like short form content, right? Stuff like this where like we have like coverage and you know, this is called Magic Moments number 7, turn 2 wins or something like that, right? There's a lot of information here that doesn't look well. Like, look at this. This is at the top of the screen, lands combo being, you know, the closed caption covering that. If you looked at mobile, there's certain parts of this that are being covered. There's a lot of information that is covering up parts of the screen. How do we like make this more friendly for short form content, right? When it comes to short form content, it's like all the rage, TikToks, Reels, and everything. And now there may be a downturn, there may be whatever. It is still very popular to watch short form content. I mean, take a look at my channel statistics right now. This is the first short that I ever like put out. Like this was September 30th, 2021. And then I went down to, you know, October 24th, everything. I posted every other day. These were like 1,000 views, 2,000 views, whatever. But when it comes to short form content now, if we look at like, even right now, if you look at by date, right now, you know, these are some of the ones that I've scheduled out, but like 15,000 views, 150,000, you know, just 200,000, 221. Like I have shorts out here that get hundreds of thousands of views that are just skits. If you highlighted and hyper edited really cool moments on coverage of Pro Tours, of Magic Worlds, funny moments, just highlighting short clips, that gets people interested. They're like, oh, is that, I've never seen that. I only play Magic Online and Arena. Is that a Pro Tour? That's like an in-person Magic event. That's really cool. I've seen that with other TCGs. Let me check this out. Let me check this channel out. And they have other shorts about like funny moments, big plays. And these are like conversation starters. These get people into the ecosystem, like kind of not superficially, I should say, but like in a conversation way. It gets people talking about Magic. In their games of Commander, they're talking about a Pro Tour win that was really funny, and that only happens not in Commander, but it happens in Standard. It might happen in Pioneer. Again, this cross-pollination, these conversation pieces that you get from these short clips, sharing of these TikToks and these Reels and these YouTube Shorts, creating this environment that, you know, cross-pollinates itself. Right? You get the casuals invested. They're watching these TikToks. They're watching, you know, this coverage now through these Twitch drops. They're passively watching or they're passively engaging. There's so many ways that we can engage people in those levels. I mean, look at these statistics. They don't lie. The stats don't lie. Once I started posting TikToks, big spikes in my subscribers. My subscriber count is largely due to a TikTok. People think I'm a TikToker. They think I'm a short, you're the TikTok guy. No, I'm not. I make so much long form content. There was a big dip in here that you're not seeing. This is when I told everyone, screw the big orange ugly man. I don't care. I'm winning. I don't care how much you think about you, how much you believe in my beliefs or hate my beliefs. I'm still winning with my beliefs. It doesn't matter how much I care about the big orange angry man down south. I'm still winning. All right. I've still got a lot of subscribers because there are good people out there that just care about the Magic, and also are okay with my political beliefs because I care for the well-being of people. You know, screw that big orange angry man. Regardless though, short form content is a great way to view Magic. You have Twitch drops that can be that can go the long way as well. But just creating an environment where casual viewers can become more invested in Magic is a great way to increase viewership, increase gameplay, increase the amount of ways that people are engaging with the game. And it doesn't need to be great, big, fancy AR digital boards like they had at Pokemon Worlds. I think it's a great big step towards a better viewing experience. And Pokemon can do this because there aren't as many things to track. But when it comes to Magic, we need to get innovative. It's not just about bringing back coverage or having personalities do coverage. Those are invested players. Those are invested players looking at like, oh, this person is doing coverage. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. You need like big names in other spaces, like big D&D names, big TCG names, big Pokemon names, big Yu-Gi-Oh names, whatever, coming in and doing these so you get those cross-pollination of other games and getting excitement for other IPs and other people. Like, you know, we have the Post Malones of the world. We have other big gamers, you know, Penguins, Charlie, like these people that play these games. Why don't you get them in for some coverage? Like, talk about the format that they really like to play and get them in on some coverage, and, you know, maybe even for just one match or something, like get them invested, right? Look at what is happening with the finals right now, the first person shooter. Just because Penguin and Charlie is playing it, it's getting a lot of viewership. Like the game numbers are spiking because you are getting someone big in the game. And we don't need to just do that with Commander. We don't just need Post Malone going to play game nights. We can do this with coverage in 1v160 card formats as well. So ultimately, this is how I believe we can improve viewership in Magic. It's not just about, you know, just the competitive events and the coverage itself. There's a lot of things we can do digitally to create cross-pollination. And there's a lot of ways that we can even improve paper coverage as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I've been doing a lot of yapping about this, but I think Magic coverage has a long way to go. There's a lot of good things that it does, but I mean, it's nowhere near as fancy as this Pokemon, Pokemon World stage, I should say.